This is gonna be a tough game. We're gonna need to get a little lucky. Need to get a little lucky. What is up, bros? Me, Josh here. In today's video, I'm gonna be going over probably one of my top 5 best games, maybe one of the best games I've ever had in World of Warships. This was an intense game from start to finish because, one, we were bottom tier, tier 8 in a tier 10, 9, 10 game, basically. And, of course, their team is stacked. They have a division from MIA, which is a very good clan in North America. They have a division from SCW, which is a very good clan from North America. And they have some pretty stacked players I remember from ranked season. Their team ended up being, I think, having 5 or so rank 1 players, and then about 4 more rank 1 level players. They had a really, really stacked team, and most of them were basically top tier. And this game, we just needed a few things to go right, and I was not in the ship I really wanted to be. We were messing around with some captain builds with a new inertia fuse, the IFHE changes. So I went with an IFHE captain for the Kiev. I didn't know if that affected this game that much, if like the fires would have been enough, but that's what we ended up running this game, and it apparently paid off. But this game was sick from start to finish, and I'm a Kiev. I don't run concealment expert, so my detection is 7.9. My torps are 8 kilometers, so I can't be contesting caps, especially since every one of their destroyers outspots me by almost 3 kilometers, 2+ kilometers for most of them. So all I wanted to do was, one, try to contest their top tier, or their tier 9 div, the Gearing, the Lion, and the Hindenburg. I wanted to contest that div as much as possible. Now, our div is full of really, really good players as well, so I figured, hey, if we could at least counter those guys, put some damage on those guys, distract those guys, we could potentially then have our team just kind of work on the rest of them, and then we could maybe either trade for those guys or kind of work for them. But really, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So I went with the Shima first on BCAP. He was catching it no problem, and this is the perfect example. Now, this Fletcher ended up proving me wrong at the end, but this Fletcher did exactly what you shouldn't do as a destroyer. So what he did was, one, he laid smoke when he wasn't detected. So what does that do? That gives a good destroyer, which they have, that gives a good destroyer a perfect area to torp. Why? Because somebody's probably gonna smoke up so they don't get detected, right? And he's sitting broadside in smoke. So what does he do? I literally called it in chat, called it in game chat, and there you go. He takes a torp. So if you guys are going in as a destroyer, don't lay smoke, because what does that do? Telling other destroyers, hey, something's in that smoke, I should throw torps on that. They did. He took a torp. Luckily, the torp rolled pretty damn low, and yeah, don't also sit broadside. If you have to, sit kind of focused away a little bit, and then that'll help you kind of just do a little more. So if you end up going in and smoking like that, like, don't go into your smoke, because it's just going to be a torp magnet. And now he's smoking for some of the battleships, which is a good idea, but he should have smoked them kind of farther back and not right on the cap like that, because it's just going to attract destroyers. So with this, I decided, since we had pushed pretty hard on ACAP and hadn't seen too many ships, I figured that we would have a little bit of some trouble here, and me and the Shimakaze could kind of take out some of the destroyers. We figured the Benson would be on ACAP, or the Gearing would be on ACAP, since he's most of that division's there, and their CCAP capped very quickly, so I figured there'd be some destroyers over here that we could potentially take down, and there was the Akazuki and the Hirakaze, and I think the Benson even is capping B right now. But figured we could kind of work on these guys. Now, our Shimakaze played this about as poorly as he could have. What he should have done here is, I don't know why he waited so long, but he should have just dropped torps and smoked. He ended up getting killed, and played this about as poorly. Waits till he's down to about 1600 life to drop smoke. So played that pretty terribly. He should have just dropped smoke right away, dumped his torps, and just lived. So now I get detected from basically outer space for destroyer. So I'm just trying to take these guys out as much as I can. We drop a hipper right there, which usually isn't that big of a deal, because it's a bottom tier, so who really cares? But this Akazuki really needs to die. He ends up killing our Shima right there. So that Shima, I think he's even a decent player, played that about as poorly as possible. So this game started off very, very tough, and I figured it would be a tough game, because of how stacked their team was. I figured we'd have a really, really tough game. And so I'm trying to kind of figure it out. So we've traded a Shima, an Atago, a Hipper for one Akizuki. I don't like that trade. Losing a top tier for basically losing a top tier DD and 2 cruisers for one bottom tier destroyer isn't that good of a trade in my opinion. But we're already up to 20k damage. I can't sit in my smoke too long because the Herikaze is off to my left still. So I'm trying to kind of help my Kutuzov out right here, keep things spotted for him, and trying not to get, because this Atago, this Takao, I guess, or it is Atago, had, I don't know, he was so focused on me every time he could. He was 100% focused on me. He would not really shoot at anybody else, so he's going dark right now, but really I needed help with that Atago. I can't really do too much damage to him, and he can actually dunk on me. So already I'm down about 7k life, and we snagged their lion, which is a really, really good kill. So our Yamato ended up dunking on him, which is awesome. And we're putting some pressure back on these guys, forcing them back a little bit. So I think I'm basically at the situation that if I can kill this Atago, if my Kutuzov can help me kill this Atago, I have some free reign on some of these guys. I can focus on these battleships because there's a Yamato and a Freddy right there, and I could really pump in some damage. And I was really just hoping to go dark right here. There we go. And it's really tough for me to go dark since I am in a Kiev. So the Herikaze is putting some sick damage. I wasn't sure if he's gonna keep rolling back, and he ends up pushing out a smoke right here. But the Atago just completely focused on me, which was a big pain in the ass. I thought I was just gonna die, eventually die, and we're gonna slowly lose this game. As you can see, kind of down on the left side, our A cap, those guys are not even pushing towards the cap, and they're kind of just running away or chasing towards them. So when you start chasing the Hindenburg, you start chasing a couple of their ships. Luckily the lion was dead. You're going to have a tough time because you're just gonna get burnt down. So down he goes, but I'm pretty low. I'm at 5k. This Atago still only wants to shoot me, and so that's kind of tough. So I need to go dark. I told my Kutuzov behind me, if he can kill that Atago, I can put in some mad damage on these battleships, because I can still technically stealth torp by a little bit, and my torps do a lot of damage, and they're just kind of cruising. They hadn't been shooting at him, they hadn't been shooting at me, so I figured maybe they were some straight line sailors, and I could pump in some damage on these guys, maybe smoke up and really, really start pumping out a lot of damage. But I just needed my Kutuzov to kill the Atago, because that Atago was fixated on me doing just doing damage to me. So that's tough. The Atago's very accurate, and I was gonna go hard right there, but I need to be really, really careful because my detection is so high. I decided to turn hard right and hopefully just kind of throw some torps at these guys and really kind of focus them. So I had about 10 seconds left on my torps, and luckily this Freddy was super, super oblivious. Downside was I was the one that was spotting these, so I didn't really have anything. And I thought for a second, do I just throw some random torps out? I think I do. It's probably the best bet. So I did throw some random torps, and luckily they lined up pretty damn good. We were off a little bit on the second one, but that's all right. And since these guys had been so oblivious, I started to just throw some HE, because if I maybe get a fire on him, he'll repair one fire. And I figured this guy would just turn hard right and then push me with sonar. So that just shows extra how oblivious he was. And again, that Atago's still only shooting at me, that jerker. But luckily, he turns a little bit to his left, which means he'll snag a couple extra torps for it. And he did repair it. It just happened to be out of the repair window where he did it. So he did repair the one fire. I didn't get any freaking hits anyway. And I should be hitting AP. With something so broadside here, you should be shooting AP. But I figured maybe I could snag a fire on this guy, and because he's on repair. So that's why I shot one salvo of AP and went back to HE. And especially because inertia fuse shells are actually hitting really hard. Kutuzov snagged the fire on him. And I figured if I could get one more fire, maybe a little bit more damage on this guy. And I needed that Des Moines to not die. He's so pivotal for the rest of this game that I needed him not to die. So I told him to push, or else he's going to freaking die right here. I mean, he's just going to get pushed by that guy. And so we needed to help him kill this guy, or else he's just going to get absolutely smashed. So we're going full damage on him, forcing out that win. And he's Des Moines broadside, or Des Moines shooting broadside, anybody's just going to absolutely smash. So that Yamato, though, we got to work on him. So same thing. Again, this Atago won't leave me alone for the entire game. Force to repair on him, then we can get some floodings, hopefully, and keep working on stuff. So I don't know if that Tago knew me from the stream or what, but that's the inertia fuse damage right there. We're getting 2,500 salvos with HE, which is pretty freaking solid. So I'm not sure if inertia fuse helped me this game or not, but it definitely didn't hurt. And that alpha damage is pretty solid. So if you guys don't know what I'm actually talking about for the inertia fuse change, is it increased the penetration for shells, for HE shells, but it lowered the fire chance. Now if the caliber is below 139, then you can if it's below 139, you only lose 1% instead of 3%. If it's above 139, you still lose 3%. So it was basically a buff to small caliber shells. And yeah, I needed this Des Moines not to die. He was starting to get really aggressive here. I don't know why. But I told him just to live. It's fine. This guy forces repair, so he doesn't have anything. So if I snag him with some torps right here, and I'm just gonna hug this island, nothing's gonna be able to spot me here unless the Benson or something's kind of hiding. And our Bismarck's just going ham, and our Bismarck's actually doing the smart thing. As you can see, everyone really south is way out of position. Our Bismarck is really smart and kind of pushing mid, getting aggressive on this. So what do? Throw down some smoke and throw down some torps. I did not think this Yamato was going to play quite into this trap like I thought he was, but I said, hey, if he turns a little bit to the right, then I'll be all right, because I didn't even know if those would hit him. I have 8-kilometer torps, and I was thinking he just continue straight. Maybe I'll snag him with one on the butt a little bit, but he is the perfect little Yamato. This is exactly, he was sailing a straight line for the entire time beforehand, and yeah, so he kind of lines up perfectly for me. And really just is the best little damage farm that you could ever ask for a tier 10 battleship. One that you want to not be on your team, but to only be a red one. And if you're wondering what's on his right side, it's a bunch of my torpedoes. And yeah, Yamato, you tried your best. And there you go. We'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5, sorry. And still is able to live through that. So we're up to 100 and almost 70k damage. We got some sick flooding on him, and I think he gets a repair on this or something, because I remember we get to a spot where it's kind of awkward. Yeah, right here. I'm like, okay, I'll just AP him down, no big deal. And he kind of starts to repair back some of it, and I'm like, well, shit. All right, well, this isn't quite going to plan. So I just switched to HE since we have that higher damage. And as you can see right now, as we're going to take out this Yamato, it's just kind of funny because you get to that point where we're like, well, shit, die already. Come on. We are up to 900, 400. And of course, I got another kill stolen from me. But that's all right. So we are in a bad spot right now. If Kittens or Bismarck can kill that Balti, that's really good. We are tied now ship for ship. We have one captive there too. They are up to 800 and almost 50 points. Kittens is in the middle of the map, which is brutal for a Bismarck. We have our Fletcher, which is super low. A Kiev, which is a gunboat, is super, super low. And luckily we have the Kuda. We have the Des Moines. So we have some pretty strong ships, but we are in a bad spot because we're still going against a Monarch, an Alabama, and a Tago, a Gearing, which I haven't seen basically the entire game, and a Benson I haven't seen the entire game until right now. So this is probably one of the plays. Now our Des Moines kills the Atago, which is amazing. Our Des Moines played out of his mind. So right here I thought I was dead, but I thought I would do as much damage as I could to this guy. And so I just start throwing some HE on him. And all of a sudden I was like, he's going to turn his guns and start shooting at me. And he never did. This guy never put any damage into me. This guy's a really good player, but I thought it was a massive misplay. I think he got way too tunnel visioned on our Bismarck. And the Bismarck ended up getting killed. But I'm like, okay, this guy's not shooting any damage on me. If I go front, I can at least get the trade on him and give my team a little bit of a chance to potentially go in and take down a Kiev for a Benson, which is pretty solid. We have our Kutuzov pushing over to C-Cap. We have the Des Moines pushing in. I'm going to be able to stop that cap. We're in a pretty good spot right now. Now they have 900 points. There goes the radar. And he's still isn't like even in a position. He was just in a position just to run the entire time instead of actually a position to kill. So I think he played this terribly. I think he got way too focused, and if I was him, I would have just he played it to like he didn't play the situation to win. He played it to not die, and I think was a total misplay for what he should have done. And gonna get some more shots on him, and boom, easy kill. I took 0 damage. That's about as good as a situation as you can get. I thought I was going to, 1, take a ton of damage there, if not die, and 2, he gave me a perfect smoke that's 3 kilometers away from his Monarch friend. So thank you, Benson, for playing that about as bad as you could have. And yeah. And the reason I'm not shooting right here, you might like, shoot your guns, shoot your guns. Spectrum Mage is a fantastic player. I did not want to risk a Monarch at 4 kilometers shooting at a Kiev, and so that is the reason I'm not shooting right here. The reason I'm not shooting right here is because he is really good, so I didn't want to risk it. Now, I thought I could maybe like alpha this down a little bit, because he takes 2 torps, and I thought, hey, I could shoot it down. You know, he's so focused. They were so focused on certain ships instead of just trying to kill me. I should have shot the extra torp salvo here. I don't know why I didn't. Thinking back on it, I should have just secured it. So it kind of got into a weird situation where he was starting to heal back through this. But I'm thinking, hey, I can just AAP it down and kill this down and hopefully just kill through his. And there you go. The Des Moines ends up getting it. So pretty good swing right there. I take 0 damage. We kill 2 more ships. But I know that there's a Gearing somewhere. I have a general idea where he is. And I need to not get murdered by him. So Alabama, luckily his guns weren't focused on me. There's the Gearing. So the Gearing has way less life than I thought he would. And luckily he didn't push me right here. It would have been smart if he did. I figured I might snag him with a torpedo here. But we're in a situation where our Fletcher, we know both of them are kind of right in the middle. The Fletcher is pushing towards the backside of C, so he can still stop it. We have a little under 3 minutes to win this game. And we're up ships. We have a radar ship. Sadly, the Des Moines didn't have any more radar, so I was kind of shitting bricks here a little bit. But if our Fletcher can stop it, maybe I can get some damage on the Gearing, maybe kill him, maybe do something. I'm out of smokes, I'm out of everything. Our Des Moines is low. This is a really bad situation. So we need a couple things to go right. As I said at the beginning of the game, we need to get a little lucky. We're already... Who said Kiev's not a torp boat? 11 torpits? Come on now. Already we're at almost 250,000 damage. We're at 225,000 damage. I'll take that in the Kiev. I'll take that in any ship. And so I figured right now we're going to push south. He's got shots on the Alabama. The Alabama's not going to have shots on me. So worst case scenario, I round this. It's me versus the Gearing. Potentially I win it. That's my whole thought process on it, is me versus the Gearing, potentially I win it. So Gearing doesn't have guns on me, I missed my first salvo. So I thought I was probably dead right here. I juke the living hell out of his first salvo, and I think that was kind of his demise. And he turned to the Fletcher. Our Fletcher played out of his mind after starting so poorly. He turned towards the Fletcher, so he tried to kill the Fletcher instead of sticking on me, and we take him down. Our Fletcher has like 28 life left or something like that. Some insane number, and we were able to take him down. So just like that, they've been into the mid 900s like 3 or 4 times. We have a minute left. The Des Moines is pushing. The Des Moines is destroying. And this game ended a little bit like this. Get that Kraken, boy. Get it. Get it.
Fletcher, stop
Get
shooting.
it.
Stop. Why are you shooting?
Right now. Woo! 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 That's a game. That's a game right there. That's a fucking game right there. Woo! So I hope you guys enjoyed this insane game in the Kiev, the Tier 8. One of the best games I've probably played. One of the best games I've been in World of Warships. Maybe the best of all time, if not in a long time. Insane. These are the games we all live for. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.